everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Why People Do What They Do. Today we have a special guest with us here, television personality and MC Daphne Iking in the house.
Hello. Hi.
Daphne, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank you. It's good to see you again.
I know, Daph. So, Daphne, tell us, I've been very intrigued by your journey from television and then striking it out on your own. I know you are very proud of your Kadazan Dusun heritage from Sabah.
Aramaite.
So, give us a little bit of insight into how a Sabahan girl ended up on national screens in Malaysia. You know, you were in television for many years. So how was your journey like as a journalist and a television personality?
I didn't expect to be in this industry for starters. I was your science stream student who was gearing up. I did science and I was gearing up to take medicine. Now that I've had many years to ponder on why I was the way I was very much trying to please my father. I always had this love and hate relationship with my father, but always trying to please him, trying to get his approval. And whatever he wanted was something that I was just that mold of trying to please the parents sort of persona, right?
Are you the eldest child?
I am the second. So it didn't help that my sister was the golden girl. She scored all A's. She did whatever my parents said. She was the ketua pengawas, ketua this, leader of this, chairman of that. So I had a very big footstep to follow through, right? And I was the complete opposite. Naughty, playful, more on the sporty side. And it was very hard because I was always labeled as, oh, Michelle's younger sister. Ini anak Moses Iking. You know, I never had an identity. So I thought by being a doctor, the thing that my father wanted me to be would finally have the approval of him and finally I will be Dr. Daphne. I finally have an identity of my own rather than just being Michelle Iking's sister, or she's the naughty one, Moses' daughter, you know? So yeah, having said that, I geared myself towards that. But I think I knew, and my mom knew deep inside that was just not my cup of tea. So mom works as was working in the hospital. She's in the medicine line also. She's a nurse, and then she turned into a nursing tutor. And she said, "Girl, bagus kau ikut saya pergi round to hospital. Just go with me on your rounds during your school break and see if it's your cup of tea." Obviously, it's not. I don't even.
But she knew from the
She
onset.
knew. She's my mother. And my parents were separated. I don't tell a lot of interviews about that part of that journey, because a lot of people are like, huh, then how come your mom knew but your father, why didn't they talk? It was the reason why is, and I can say it now because my mom's so open about it, is because my parents were separated for about 12 years, but they had a very odd relationship, a complicated relationship where we didn't hate each other, you know, it was just like that, it was just how it was. So going back to how my mom said, you better just tell your dad that this is not your cup of tea because you can't even look at your own menses. That's blood, and you'll be dealing. I can't. I'm terrified of blood. I am terrified of needles. So how the hell am I going to be able to do all that and study medicine for what, God? And so when I finally had the courage to tell Dad, and you must understand, again, it's a very complicated relationship that I had.
Takut
at the same time, but like rebellious because my father was not being a good husband. You know what I mean? So I was also very angry, but at the same time, he wasn't a bad father. He was just a horrible husband at that time. So I was still angry with him, but still at the same time trying to please him. So I told him, I said, Dad, I don't want to do medicine, tahan. And he said, what a waste, you know, you're getting all your A's, you got good grades in science,
so you were a good science student.
I was. I mean, I was grateful that I had very good friends around me who were studious, but I also had that naughty group who was, oh my gosh, we were so playful. And it's who you surround yourself with. So I'm very blessed in that sense. So he said, such a waste, you know, you can get your scholarship and stuff like that. So he said, why don't you take dentistry? Still part of medicine, then you can still be doctor. You know, it's a very, very, and I don't know
that
what.
Prestige
that prestige, you know, Michelle took engineering, she got a scholarship, engineering, and I was supposed to follow suit. And I think it was also a very bad time because it was at the height of mom and dad it had a lot to do with mom and dad not fighting, but having that little, you know, conflict in their marriage, that strain. So that was when I took mom's side and I said, I don't want to do anything with dad. And I sort of left and I chose USM as my
University
of choice. It was far enough from Sabah, cool enough. Went to USM, spoke to my English teacher because you have to go through matriculation, right? All the matriculation, and he said like, "Hey, you like to write. You like to write. Why don't you take journalism?" And the only course that had that was broadcasting, television, radio, and film. So I told my dad in one of the occasions that we had to like talk, and he said, "Apa kau mau jadi? What do you want to be in the entertainment industry? Nanti kau jadi bantaton." Bantaton would be like, you know, very sluttish. It's like a slut. You'll be a slut. You are prostituting yourself if you go and enter into the entertainment industry, right? And I'm like, no, Dad. You know,
So he wasn't just lecturing you, but he was really very harshly against.
Oh yes. Already I didn't take medicine. He said like, what a waste to your science project, you know, science stream results and everything. But you're doing something completely. What is this? What's broadcasting, television, radio, and film? Do you want to go into radio? And I went, yeah, maybe. I don't know, but that's the course that offers me journalism that I'm interested in. But it's underparked in this course, and he didn't understand it. Neither did I, to be honest, because I just thought, okay, USM, what can I do that has journalism that my teacher, who seems to have so much faith in me, believes that I should be going. I'm going to support myself. I was a cabaret dancer. I sold cigarettes. I taught tuition part-time, and I paid for my own fees. And but along the way, you know, like I said, it was a love and hate relationship that I had with my dad, and at the same time, I'm still trying to please him. So I'm like, look, I'm doing okay, but you don't have to pay me. You don't have to give me any money. But if you want to give me money, can also. You know, it was very complicated. To cut a long story short, and one day I decided, when things were slightly better between my father and I, said, okay, if I can't fulfill my dream to be a doctor in medicine, I would be a doctor in my doctorate. So I took up my master's. I got a partial scholarship for that. And then I was going to proceed to take my PhD. But at that time, TV3 had already called me, and I was traveling back and forth. So it was a bit ridiculous going up and down. And that's just how it became. And that dream, so that dream still stays on. Maybe I'll still be a doctor. Maybe I'll still take my PhD. But we'll see how it goes.
So it seems like you didn't grow up wanting to be a broadcaster. Or journalist, a broadcast journalist, basically. It was just basically.
It didn't even cross my mind. I knew I wanted to be a doctor for my father, so I would write my name, Dr. Daphne Iking, and you put your scoring, your A's for your visual, your mood board there to visualize yourself into studying hard. I had that. But if I had to see myself, I see myself traveling. I saw myself as a librarian, because I thought I love books, and I can imagine myself just being cooped in a library, and I can just chop. And I got a job, and I can just read. Well, perfect. So I saw that very clearly. But other than that, no, I never saw myself as a journalist, never saw myself on TV.
So how was it like, you know, getting your first gig? Was it your first gig with TV3?
I was a PR. So when I did my broadcasting course, I had to intern with a production house. That production house took me in as their PR and marketing.
How was that? I didn't know you were in PR.
Yeah, I was in marketing and PR because they said, oh, you taught a lot, so maybe you can persuade people to do this. And at that time, I thought PR and marketing were the same thing. It's not. It is not. It's completely two different things. So it was fun. I learned a lot. I think I honed my skills in writing more, actually, by doing PR.
Oh, you do a lot of writing in PR.
Because I had to do a lot of writing. But the marketing part was where I got to meet people and sort of had more soft skills. But it was, again, another person who saw me and they said, hey, do you want to try it and be a journalist, but in the finance department, English department for TV3? And I said, yeah, why not? I'll give it a try. Left that, went there. A few months later, they said, oh, no, our host decides to... There's a bit of a scandal there, but apparently the boss and her tak ngam already, so she left and the boss kicked her out. So there was no one else to host it, and I came in.
And that was your first program?
And that was my first program.
What program was that?
Ringgit Sense.
Nice. Wow. And how long were you there for, hosting the show?
I think I was doing it with Naz, Ringgit Sense, for about 2 seasons. And then I was seconded to the entertainment department where I had to do Expo Race, had to do another season. And then I was also doing my master's.
Wait, so you were doing Ringgit Sense,
Expo Race, and my master's in USM. So the traveling was really killing me. I took a semester semester break. It was so good that my supervisor actually let me off for a month, for a semester, just to complete Explore Race and Ringgit Sense. And then I decided, okay, I wanted to do more of Explore Race because it was more traveling. And then I put a stop to Ringgit Sense. Hannah Tan came in, and I started doing Explore Race. And then it was just one after another, and acting, and it was just, it was.
And before you know it, it's like everything else that it's a whole portfolio of television gigs.
Yeah, exactly. And at that same time, I remember because my sister was in the committee for the KDCA, the Kadazan Dusun Cultural Association for KL. And that was the first time they had the celebrations of the Kamatan, the Harvest Festival in Kuala Lumpur. And they had the first Unduk Ngadau, which is the beauty pageant Unduk Ngadau competition in KL, and they said, alamak, not enough people to join. Pon, me, Daphne, Pon, why don't you join? Because you know you're just about the age where next year you can't join any more pageants, and we don't have enough people. I'm like, oh, okay, fine, I'll help you out lah, you know, and I won. So I won that. And my sister's like, oh no, we can't tell Dad. We can't tell Dad that I won this because, like I said, this is like, oh my God, you're going to be parading yourself up and down the station, regardless of the fact that it's actually a cultural aspect, and he's very proud of his culture. But to him, it's just stage bantaton, stage slut. Anyone very, and you know what the sad part is? He used to perform, he used to do all these things. So I don't know if it's just him being scared of I don't know. He's dead now, so I can't really ask him. But yeah, I don't know what was going on in his mind, but he was very against it. Can I just talk a little bit more about my dad? Because this is really strange. When he passed away 2 years ago, when we were cleaning up his barang and all his stuff, I found a box of all the newspaper articles that he had collected, all the front covers and everything that he had collected since I started from day one, when I won a beauty pageant in Penang, like 2001, when we weren't talking then, but he knew. So he had kept it, and I'm telling my mom, I was like, why didn't Dad tell me he loved me? It would have been so much better for my relationship, because it affected my relationship with other men. I thought that, you know, I needed to validate I needed to get approval. I craved love, and really, really.
Because he was the #1 male figure. For you. Yeah.
And I'm trying to constantly please him. So I think it sort of, you know, sort of screwed up my interpretation of how relationships should be and how I should treat men, or how men can treat me. Because I saw how Dad treated Mom, and Mom was fine with it. So it was very, very complicated. And I said, Mom, why did he just tell me that he was proud of me? Why was he so harsh on me?
It seemed like he was hiding.
Hiding, you know. And Mom said, tidak tahu, maybe he just wanted you. He saw that he could push you further. I'm like, that's not the way to do it, you know.
Somebody told me this. I think it was an ex-boss that mentioned this. She said that most of the time when parents seemed angry at their kids, they're actually not really angry at the kids, but they're angry at themselves, because there's always a question of, where did I go wrong? So I'm not a parent myself. I mean, maybe not yet, but is that probably true?
You know, I just had this 2 weeks ago. I had this big argument with my daughter, because I found out that Isabel, who's turning 12 end of this year, and because I found out that she hid some stuff from me. And I've always seen her as an angelic, quiet, shy person. So when I read some of the texts and found out, you know, some of the things that she was doing, it was nothing bad. It was not as if she's cheating or lying, cheating or stealing or whatever. It was more of she set up her own IG account without telling us. She had explored some apps that had very sexual stuff in it, you know. And I got angry, and I'm like, why are you doing this? What? And I became my father. I'm like, are you becoming a slut? Are you going to be one of those bullies, those Pokemon bloody sluts? You know, and I started cursing at her and being really angry. And my husband had to, because he's a bit more, he's the angry one, by the way. He's the more garang one. But when it comes to the kids, this is the disciplinary.
So why did you decide to leave television after 15 years and strike out on your own? Was it because of the shifting trends that you realized were coming on and affecting consumer appetite, or was there something else?
By the last few years of my stint in Media Prima, I had already I was no longer a permanent staff. I was a contract staff because I was married to someone else and I moved to China for a bit. It didn't work out, so I came back, but then I came back on a contract basis. So I was purely more of just an anchor, a TV host. And it was very frustrating because at that time I've already had broadcasting experience as well as I was a producer. But I also know my place. So if I am there as an anchor, as a host, there's only so much suggestions that I can say with regards to the script or how the show direction should be without insulting anyone. And it was very frustrating at that point of time when it was always the same old, same old. And I don't blame my ex-producers. They were young. Because at that time I was doing Bella, and that was a women's show. They were young, they were not married, they didn't have kids. They didn't really understand what it means to be a more matured woman. We're engaging to a more matured crowd. And it was getting frustrating. It's not just about beauty and fashion. And there was also the issue about my dad joining politics, and he was with the then opposition. So I was getting a little bit, yes, I was getting a lot of heat from the board, and at the same time, my superiors, my bosses were saying she didn't do anything wrong. It's not as if she's campaigning. It's not as if she's doing anything, but I could feel it, and it was just getting, to me. Plus, there were some things that I couldn't speak about. Religion was one of them. And I felt I need to branch out and do something on my own. And I think, and this was something that frustrated my manager, who's also my husband, because I didn't consult him. So one day I was doing makeup to get ready to go for live. And then I asked the producer, I said, bila I punya contract end lagi? And she said like, oh, June. I went, tak payah sambung lah. It was just like that. No thinking. So Joe, now my manager, comes in. Wait, what's happening? And I said, oh, Kak Daphne kata tak nak sambung dah. And I'm like, yeah. And he said, you haven't consulted with me. You can't just do that. Cut long story short, I decided because I already said it right. And he said, okay, fine. You don't want to do this anymore. We'll figure it out on our own lah.
Was it something that you planned, or was it something that just came to you while you were doing your makeup?
I just looked at the script and this topic again. It was getting so routine. It was getting something so like I don't find any passion or joy or thrill to it. I love the adrenaline of going live, but the topics were the same. And like I said, because my capacity there was only as an anchor, I was no longer a producer or a... I can suggest, but there's only so much I can do.
Sorry, digress a bit. You didn't have a say in the topics that you wanted to speak about?
We can suggest the topics, but at the end of the day, it's up to them to decide, and we just do what is being told. And then again, there was a lot of other factors that were coming in, so I decided to stop. By June, and that was where it got scary, I didn't think it through. In June was Ramadan, and Ramadan is a very dry month for MCs, for shows and stuff. Everything is done either before Ramadan to get ready for Raya, or it's just, so it was empty. So I had that 1 month of complete silence. So he was like, I told you. And I'm like, oh man, should I just, eat the humble pie and just go and like, okay lah, kita sambung contract lah next month, okay lah, But I don't know, after that, I think after praying, I landed another MC job, and then another, and then another. So then it started, people started saying, oh, you're no longer with this, so you have more time to do this? And I'm like, yeah. And I started producing my own corporate videos, and that's how it became a business for me. At the same time, I said, but then I still rindu cakap-cakap on television. So I started out my own YouTube channel and started talking about issues that mattered to me.
First gig that you got striking it out on your own, do you remember that?
I think it was an MC job. And after that, that same company hired me for like a fair of doing 5 different locations. So I'm like, hey, that's not bad. I get to travel to different states doing this. Not too bad, doing the same thing. So I just do it in different states. And I thought, okay lah, no need to go eat that humble pie. I think I can manage lah. But there are, it's been how many years now? Now it's 2019. It's been 5 years since... 2016. About 4 or 5 years since I've left completely. And sometimes there are days when I miss it. There are days when I'm like, maybe we should just eat humble pie and ask them, knock, do they want any? But the landscape has changed. It has changed completely, I think they've tried to do new shows, coming up with new breakfast shows, morning shows, it just doesn't work anymore. And the direction that I'm heading towards, which is social media and using YouTube as my platform, is working better for me.
Yeah. Would you ever go back to television?
I would. If there's a right opportunity, I would. People ask me if I would still act. I would, if I have the right script. And I would definitely. There's certain things that I do in life that I will go back to because there's just a different sort of adrenaline, passion that I thrive and I crave.
You also mentioned your YouTube channel, which you have many, many subscribers, right? And you've evolved into what people have described a buzzword right now and a dream career for many. You are an influencer, social media influencer. What does that word mean to you, an influencer? There's so much discussions about it, but I would like to hear from you. What do you think about that word?
I love the fact that you have this profession of being an influencer. However, it gets a little bit tricky because you have all these young influencers out there, or wannabe influencers, who do it and then they are not being themselves. They forget the authentic part of themselves and why they're doing it. The niyat has gone a bit astray. But if you do have that chance, I think it's because you want to get more followers. So the trend right now is to show more skin, perhaps, or you're doing stuff, and it's very tiring, producing content. And the content that they produce is very high quality content. That's the one that really brings in. And then you start getting a team, and it becomes work. And it's good if you get money, it's great, but it just gets very tiring. I remember those days when I used to blog or vlog on a daily basis, and I got so addicted to it, but because I was burning the midnight oil just so that I can make sure that then the vlog will be published the next day, even if it's a 3-4 minute, editing it alone is.
You were doing that a lot last year, right?
Yeah, I did that when I was hiding my pregnancy with Isidore. So I had more time. And it was also my little experiment, see again, unplanned, experiment to see how long can I keep this a secret of me hiding my pregnancy, because I was takut that no one would hire me. So I was also vlogging that experience together. But yeah, going back to that, where influencers, it tires them out and it burns them out. I've seen a lot of really successful YouTubers who just don't want to do it anymore. So that's where the danger is. Or you start doing things and you get paid to do all these reviews that you don't necessarily believe in or is dangerous. I think there was a lot of heat on Nilofa when she started promoting whitening pills for babies and kids. So that's to each in their own, rezeki dia masing-masing and everything. And I'm a good friend of Nilofa, don't get me wrong, but that's just how scary it can be, because when you start, you've got that influence over a huge audience. You have to do it with responsibility. I get offers to do reviews, to putihkan ketiak, to ketatkan your cipap and all that, right? Things that I don't believe in. So my husband will get it and he's like, you want to do this? Good money? And I'm like, no, I don't believe in those things,
Actually filter
I will
the
filter.
reviews.
So things that I may not necessarily believe in, I'll say, let me give it a try. If I like it, then then it's top business. And if I don't, I won't pursue it. I think I need to be authentic in that sense. And even if the posts that I post on, it has to be based on what I believe in, how I really truly feel. They can give me, and I think I'm lucky because most of the clients that I get, they sort of know that they don't need to feed me, what do you call this? They'll tell me the pointers, but they don't give me the sample and then expect me to use it.
I know you're incredibly easy to work with. I've worked with Daphne many times.
So that's just it, because some influencers, they'll go like, Daph, boleh tolong you just edit for me, and I help them out, because that's just how, because it has to come from you, it has to come from within you. So being an influencer is such a powerful thing, and you should take it with responsibility. I embrace it wholeheartedly because I've used that platform to talk about issues of my heart, my charity work, issues that I believe in, and it may be a small thing, or it might just attract a small audience who believes it, but at least that 1-2 who does listen in, who do tune in and go, ya kesian budak-budak stateless ni, it helps. So use it. I think it's a powerful and a very magical thing to be an influencer, if provided that you know how to use it responsibly and to use your platform to the best of your advantage.
Tell us a bit about why you decided to hide your pregnancy. This is your third child, right? Isidore?
Isidore.
Yeah, why did you feel the need to hide that pregnancy? I was shocked when I found out that you were pregnant. That was 3 years ago?
3 years ago, yeah. I found out that I was pregnant with Isidore. It was unplanned. My life is full of surprises. Unplanned. And at that point of time, Joe had already booked me for a few gigs that had already been paid deposit.
Okay.
So a few months already. And he said like, okay, let me see. You're not showing. You're about 3 months now. You're not showing yet. Let's just hide it. Don't tell anyone. Don't even tell your friends. Because I've got a group of really amazing girlfriends in the same industry, but I didn't want to put them in a spot, so I hid it even from them. The only people that knew were our immediate family members.
Wow.
You know, so even then they were not allowed to post any pictures. I'll have to look at it and say, nampak pregnant, tak nak. And 1 or 2 designers who helped me, who sort of helped cover my pregnancy very well. Melinda Loy, thank you, was one of them. So I kept it quiet because I knew from experience, having Isabel and Iman, that as soon as they find out that I'm pregnant, they go like, I've been turned down. It's not, there was one who said this, and this was really mind-blowing because it was a show to empower women. To empower women, and here I am pregnant. What, married women cannot get pregnant, is it? And it's so frustrating, but I didn't get the job because someone found out, because I told another friend, and she said, hey, I dengar dia dah pregnant. Betul ke? So the event organizers, Daph, betul ke you pregnant? I'm like, and this is an, you know, event organizers eventually become pals at the same time. So I'm like, yeah, why? Masalah ke? It doesn't show. I can wear something that doesn't, because I was about 4 or 5 months.
But even so, why would that matter?
I was told that it was for safety reasons. Now, if I was doing bungee jumping or doing something that was really active and something that would endanger me and the baby, I can understand. I am behind a lectern on stage, talking. I'm not doing any crazy stuff. At most, maybe do some games. And it was like I was not showing. Yalah, kalau you're like really huge, like a huge whale, and you're pouncing up and down, it may not look as nice, which I still think that's a bit of discrimination there, but it may not look so manis on stage when you're like huge and you're bouncing up and down. And again, I was hiding it so well. I hid it all the way till my 8th month. I was doing an F1 gig, where, you know, F1 gigs are always, it's all about sex appeal, you know, and you know, and the lady just looked at me and like, okay, maybe she just put on weight, and I carried it off. A month later, of course, when news broke out, she went like, you were pregnant during my gig? And I went like, yeah. Oh, ingat you put on weight, tapi tak nampak. I said, I hid it very well. And that was my experiment. It was just mind-blowing how people started responding like, you were pregnant? And I said, okay, just out of the clients that I knew, out of curiosity, would you have hired me had you known I was pregnant at that time? No. Simple.
Reason?
Safety reasons. When I wrote that article, after my foundings, I wrote that article for The Star. A lot of people emailed me back, and one of them said, Daph, I'm actually going for an interview tomorrow, and they specifically said they don't want anyone who is going to have kids. Should I tell them that I'm pregnant? So questions like that, I'm like, yeah, because if they specifically said this, then you need to be upfront. So things like that. And a lot of people were like, oh, why is this not, it's not fair, you know? There's a lot of discrimination in that sense. That's why in this year's theme for the International Women's Day, I really, really believe in it. We need a more gender balanced world. There has to be balance for better, because it's as simple as something like this, where it gets really frustrating. I'm very blessed because I work with my husband. So if I'm not able to have a helper to assist us with the kids, he takes on, and he takes it on with ease. Some men aren't like that. Not many husbands are like that. Ayah, my turn to babysit. I'm like, you don't babysit your child. You parent them. You are as responsible to taking care of these kids as your wife is, as looking after the household. But that's just it. It falls upon the wife. It falls upon the mother to do the second shift of cleaning up house chores. Once they come back from hard day's work, they come back, it's looking after the kids, make sure makan ada, cleaning up, doing the laundry, and it starts back all over again. I'm blessed, I've got a great helper, but days that, you know, she's ill or she's taken off, or, you know, I like my own house to be the way I want, so I do my own cleaning, I do my own cooking. That's just how it is. He won't. Why? Because, oh, don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't he doesn't help at all. He helps out with the other things. But it sort of naturally falls upon housework, and childcare goes to the mother. You know, so that's where I feel we need to step up and, you know, have balance for better, where male and female needs to do it without any no questions asked. No, we're like, but then, you know.
Okay, so that is what balance means to you.
That's what balance means to me.
Not only within the household, but also in work,
Yeah.
in, you know, philosophy in life, basically.
Especially at work, you know, and I think we discussed this earlier on about if a woman is a little bit more enthusiastic, she's a little bit more determined and passionate, so she'll be referred to as a very bitchy, bossy boss. But if a guy does the same thing, the same characteristics, same enthusiasm, same, you know, being garang and everything, it's expected, it's fine. So, and who are the ones saying this about these women leaders? It's us women. Because we are so used to being docile and, we must talk it out, we must, you know.
We're filtering things,
we
right?
filter things. So if any woman does that to us, we say, how can you do this to your sister? You know? But at the same time, hey, if a guy does that, kenapa? So it's very tricky, because at the same time, sister kena support sister, kita kena uplift sisterhood. That conversation also needs to change in that sense, that mindset of us. It's okay if you're going to be a bit bossy.
I respect
I respect that, and because that, you know, that's just how we have to get used to it. We have to get used to that mindset of, it's not because she's bitchy. She's doing that because, you know, it's just weird when a woman does that. She's power hungry. Memang ni perempuan ni tak ada kahwin, tak ada anak, which normally is the case, by the way, yeah?
Okay,
But it doesn't need to be necessary. They don't necessarily have to be pigeonholed that way.
Correct.
You know, I believe that if women want to progress further, and we want to talk the talk and walk the walk, talk the talk and walk the walk, we need to support each other and fix each other's crowns. That's what I believe.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because I don't think that that's happening very often these days. It's easier said than done, I know, but I think that's something that we have to achieve together as a collective.
And it gets very tricky because culture comes into play. I was just talking to a group of women earlier on, and how another woman entrepreneur was inspiring another woman entrepreneur making kerepek at the tengah jalan, saying, sedaplah kerepek awak. Sebenarnya you can join me, you know. Why don't you join me to do this experience where you show people how to do kerepek? Kena tanya abang dulu nanti mak mertua marah. It's not about them, it's about, because culture, you have to ask the boss. Who is the boss? The father, the husband. Or it goes back to the mak mertua or whoever lah.
This is precisely why we have International Women's Day, because of situations like these.
And it's something as simple as that, you know.
Yeah, why can't you just make your own decisions? And I think you're right, Daphne. I think it all comes down to culture, because we tend to work for other people. We tend to make decisions based on what other people's needs are.
And it's a cultural thing. She's expected to go back and look after the kids. The father will go out and get money, and after that come back and then watch TV because penat.
You're a mother of 2 girls, right?
2 girls.
Yeah. What are your thoughts and what are your hopes for them when they grow up? Do you expect them? Do you want them, or do you expect them to be docile, to be, you know, to live a very filtered life? What kind of...
At the same time, because they're my girls, of course I want to protect them, and because I've seen the uglier side of this world, and because of my journalism or my journalistic background, I know so many nonsense that's happening. Of course I want to protect them from all this and keep them under my wings for as long as I can, but I know I can't do that and I need to expose them. So it's a constant battle between my husband and I, because he's the more protective one. He has that vision of just, you know, no, they can't go out. No, they're not going to have a boyfriend till they're 40 years old. I'm like, oh my God, you're going to make me a grandmother? How old, man? But at the same time, so like I said, I started working at the age of 15. My parents started allowing me to cook, or not allowing me, I just had no choice because both of them were working. We didn't have a helper. So you make your own nasi, fry your own egg. I was 9. My daughter can't even wash a plate properly. So they're very pampered in that sense. So what I would like them to be is to be a bit more independent, and I think I have to play a role in that. In order for them to be resilient, the mother and father needs to be resilient in letting them go and letting them fail and fall and do whatever they have to do. Those mistakes have to happen. It's scary, but I'm slowly letting go of that the reins, and I want them to be able to go and explore whatever they want to do. Belle seems to be not as academically driven as the younger sister. Iman is, it's all about A's. She couldn't read when she first came into her school, and then we were worried because she didn't pass the entrance test to go in. So we told her, the father just point blank told her, if you don't pass the test, you can't go into this school with your kaka, and she worships her sister. So she studied those 2 months, and then amazingly she just learned how to read and count enough for her to pass the entrance exam, and now she's one of the top scholars in the class. She's getting her A's, and I remember Iman, her wanting to get her earrings pierced, and the dad said no, because the father's trying to be like, my girls are going to be innocent, none of these nail polish, makeup and earrings and all this. And he gave an ultimatum. He said, if you get all A's, I will grant you your pierced earrings. And she did. She worked very hard and she got it. So that's Iman. Iman's she knows where Belle is more dreamy and stuff. And it got really frustrating because I'm like, if you were like Michelle, my older sister, and then Iman's supposed to be like me, a bit more gangster, whatever, kan? What the balik? Why is Iman more like Michelle and Belle's more like me? So I'm like, no, don't be like me, don't be like me. Because I had so much more potential. I go back, look at the things that I used to do, and I'm like, I could have done it better. I regret not, because I was so rebellious, and I think it was rebellious towards my dad. There was just that, I want to prove but don't want to prove. Like, I can't be bothered about you. I'm going to rebel, but I want you to love me. I don't want her to do that. I don't want her to waste her life. Okay. So with Belle, she's into paints and stuff. So my husband and I said, you know what? If she loves this, if this is what she wants to do, she wants to go to Japan and become an anime painter, whatever it is. Let's do it. So that's why we're fulfilling her trip to Japan end of this month. We're going to bring her to an anime museum. So we want her to know that whatever your dreams are, as long as we can afford it, we have that capacity, we will support her in every way. I think that's so important. Even if it's going to be an anime, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what an anime illustrator is, but that's what she wants to do, so be it. And she's so fantastic, and I think that's very important, to just support whatever decision they want to do, no matter how, because my dad didn't do that, and I want to make sure she gets the support that I didn't get.
You also talked about your social causes that you are very passionate about, and you've expressed it on social media platforms. What are the causes that you are passionate about, and why them? Why these causes?
I've got a few, and it sort of connects to each other. It started out with me helping out unwed pregnant moms.
Yoga, right?
That I took up yoga. I took up a specific prenatal yoga instructor course because I wanted to make sure that I, do yoga in a proper manner with them. But it stems before then, because before I had Isabel, before I got married, I actually was on the verge of adopting this boy whose mother had HIV. And I think that's why Isadore is a blessing in a sense. But yeah, going back to that, very close to adopting him, and I had my diapers, and I was not even married then. I earned enough money. I was seeing someone then, but I was ready to adopt. I didn't even know the legalities. 25.
Wow.
Yeah. And that girl eventually, because the deal was she can go back to the kampong, but she must not have the baby with her because malu. So she wanted to give the baby away.
Where is she from?
She's Malaysian. So the child was this. But eventually, so preparing, spoke to her, and I said, okay, I'll take over lah, prepare and everything. Mom was saying, you sure? In the end, I'm going to be the one looking after. I said, don't worry, I've got this handle, settled and everything. Eventually, the mother decided to keep the baby, which was great. I was sad because I was already bonding with the mom and getting prepared and everything, but that was great. But 2 years later, I found out that the mother passed away. I have no idea where the boy is. I don't know what happened to the boy. So that memory of the boy, what happened to the boy, haunts me till this day. So I've always yearned for a son. Everyone knows how much I've always wanted. I love my girls, but I've always wanted a baby boy because of that experience. And because she was so scared, I knew I've always wanted to help unwed pregnant moms. And that's where I helped out Rumah Kita. It was before then I was helping out orphan care, about adoption, how pregnant mothers have these avenues to, you know, if they don't go and don't abort, because some chuchuk, you know, those hangers in their vagina, and they do really awful stuff to try and abort their child on their own, right? And really all these horror stories that I come across. So that led me to Rumah Kita, and then adoption, and how there are mothers out there who, you know, there are parents out there who are in line, legal parents who wants to have proper kids, like kids. And then I found out about human trafficking, because that was another part where I found out about adoption and not legal. Hospitals are doing it, they're selling babies, and that's where, oh my gosh, selling babies. And then that's where it led me to foundlings, abandoned babies on the street, and then they don't get citizenship. And that's where my issue of statelessness came about. So all these interrelate in that sense. And it stemmed from that one particular mom, that HIV mom who's passed on. I have no idea where the boy is. So that is my drive on why I do this. Bless my husband, he's allowed me to do this. Because I work with other child advocates out there. One of them is Said Azmi. And because I want to try and get, I can't talk about this without the proper knowledge. So I told him, is there a place where I can absorb all this knowledge, so that when I speak about this, or when cases come to me, then I'm more properly informed and I can counsel accordingly.
You have been in the spotlight from the beginning of your career, right? And then now you are using whatever connections, resources you have for the causes that you believe in. But being in the spotlight is not an easy task. Have there been any situations or adversities that you have faced by being in the spotlight, and how have you overcome them?
Oh, definitely. Being in the spotlight also has its cons, because people automatically think they own you. The public think they have the right to say how you should dress, how you should talk, how you should say things. And it's very frustrating, because I take out all these issues that are so powerful, and that's not being picked up by the media, for instance, or by the gossip columns. What do they pick up? Oh, now she's wearing a turban. Oh, but she's not wearing the turban the right way. Why is she still showing her legs? I'm using the turban as a fashion statement, which is true. I'm not using it as a tudung, as a hijab, as a cover for my hair. So things like that get picked up. Or I'm holding a dog. And they go like, oh my God, she's holding a dog. You know, I'm like, so just wash off lah. Or whether I do it or not, that's up to me lah. You know? It has. But I'm ready for that, and I expect it. So I still won't give up. I will still keep pushing through my issues or things that I believe in and be vocal. It's great, because just yesterday, I think I received a notification saying that I spoke about sex education and how we should be introducing it as soon as 2 years old. And that got picked up by the Malay media. So that was good. So it's getting there. Spotlight for the right reasons and not for the bad things. But I remember at one point where I was going through a really messy public divorce, and that was really a hard time. But I appreciate that time also, because it really, really screened out your truest friends and the bosses that believed in me, because of course, naturally there was a lot of commotion. It wasn't about me per se, but it hit me in a way, because it was such a public thing in papers. But it also showed them that, hey, Daphne is a very good worker. And that made me feel good, because they said, we're going to keep her on because she's good. She's good at what she does. This thing about her, whatever controversies that's happening around her, it's not going to affect her work. She's good. And that made me feel like, thank you. Thank you for appreciating my work. Thank you for appreciating the person that I've been working so hard for this company for. So that felt good. So there was goodness in it. I'm glad.
What would you say to young girls who want to be television personalities, journalists, broadcast journalists, or social media influencers, those who want to take a little part of Daphne Iking, want to be the next Daphne Iking, or want to take, that little values that you put out there? What would you say to them?
I think you need to remain authentic. You need to remain true to yourself. When it comes to broadcasting work, emceeing jobs, interviewing, I think a lot of it has to do with research. You need to do your research. You can't be complacent and allow just your producers or the agent to just pass you a set of questions and you just question and use those questions and fire away. No, I think it's important for you to do research. I'm very old school in that sense. And if you can, do a little bit of everything. I can handle the camera, I can edit, I can do the lights, I can do everything. I can be a one-person show. And I think that's good.
To be an all-rounder.
Yeah, an all-rounder. But learn to also let go, delegate. You know you're good at this. Daphne, you're good at this, or Jack, you're good at this. It's great that you know all this so that people cannot continue. But you're good at this, and delegate. Learn to let go. Learn to let go. But you have to be authentic also, because if you're not authentic, when you try to be someone else, it burns you out very fast. You know, I see a lot of influencers who started so cantik, so whatever, and every day, and then eventually they finally did a raw vlog saying, "This is not the real me. This is not me anymore. You know, I'm tired of doing this." Da 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 da. It burns you out, so you have to keep it real.
Thank you, Daphne.
Thank you.
So be authentic. Those are the wise words from Daphne Iking. Daphne, thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I thought we ended like
That was Daphne Iking. Thank you everyone for being with us here today at Why People Do What They Do. Thank you very much.